Hey everyone, I'm Joshua Deemer and welcome back to our Java programming tutorial series. Today, we will be making our first project, recording user input. The pace will be pretty quick, but I will explain how each line works in the program. Without further ado, let's get started. I have three goals for this project. The first goal is to simply read the user input. The second goal is to loop until there is valid input given. And my third goal is to essentially not crash the program. So we start off here with a scanner, naming it reader and setting it equal to a new scanner. And this will take in the system.in. If you remember, system.out is the output and system.in is the input. Then we import the scanner and close it so it releases resources back to our system. So now we print out what is your name. Then we get the name from the reader using the next line method, and it stores it into the variable name. Then we print out what is your age. After that, we get the next line in the reader and convert it to an integer, since the next line in a reader is a string. Then we ask if the user has graduated. Finally, we store that graduated variable into a boolean from the next line. We have to convert it to a boolean because it returns a string. After this, we can now print out the results. So we're printing the name is the age, years old, and has, don't forget that space. Then we check if the user has graduated. If the user has, then we're going to finish out printing graduated. Otherwise, we'll finish by printing out not graduated. Let's go ahead and check if this works. If we say Joshua, 25, and true, it prints out our sentence. But if we leave the name blank, the age blank, well, actually, this will just crash. But let's say we leave the name blank, make it negative whatever, and then type in whatever we want for graduated. You'll see it'll vomit up something that doesn't really make any sense. This finishes up the first goal on our list. The next goal is to loop until there is a valid input. Next up, we create a name before we make the do-while loop so we can use it outside of the do-while loop. Then we make sure that the name trimmed, so including all white space, is not blank, because we want to make sure a name exists there. If the name is blank, then we are going to print out in the error console the input was invalid. We're going to do the same thing with age. We'll set it equal to -1 as that really isn't a valid age. Then we surround it with a do while, and we check if age is equal to -1. we remove the int in front of age because we're not initializing, we are reinitializing. Then we check if age is equal to -1, and we print out in the error console the input was invalid. Finally, we have one more, which is the graduated. I use a capital B for the Boolean so we can make it null. Then we surround it by a do-while loop, just like we did with the others. And as the condition, we're checking if graduated is null. If it's true or false, then we want to pass through, but if it's null, then it's not valid. Then we check if graduated is null inside of the loop, and we print out in the error console once again the input was invalid. Now, since a lot of these errors are similar, I'm going to actually create a new string variable at the top and paste it there. Then I'm going to take that variable and paste it inside of our print lines. Next, let's go ahead and make sure this works. So blank makes it say it's invalid, white space makes it say it's invalid, Joshua makes it valid, 25 is valid, and true is valid. So now it prints that out. However, we can say Joshua, but if we say a string here, it'll crash. Not only this, but if we say Joshua 25 and a random string, it'll say not graduated. This means we've accomplished our second goal. The next goal is to make sure our program does not crash. So I'm going to surround our age with a try-catch block. We're going to check for the number format exception. If there is an error, then we will print it out to the error console. We'll be a little more specific, so we'll add, make sure you are entering a number. Then we will continue because we don't need to run the if age equals -1 or the next portion. We check if age is less than 0, and if it is, then we set it to -1. We also want to add, make sure your number is between 0 and 127 in the specifics for the age equals -1. Otherwise, if age is greater than the maximum value of a byte, which is 127, then set age to -1. It'll catch itself at the bottom and say make sure your number is between 0 and 127. Let's go ahead and make sure graduated only works for certain values. For this, we're going to create a string saying graduate string is equal to the next line of the reader. Then we're going to lowercase that returned string. And we're going to put that string inside of a switch statement. We're going to have 4 cases on each end. We're going to check if it's Y, if it's T, if it's yes, and if it's true. If it's either of these 4, we want graduated to equal true. then we break. We have 4 more cases to go through. We have N, F, no, and false. If any of these are true, then we're going to set graduated to false. Then we'll break. If none of those are true, then we'll print our error message and end it there. Let's check to make sure it works. Empty blank says input is invalid. Adding spaces, input is invalid. Joshua works. -1 does not work. 200 does not work. And a string does not work. But if we input a valid age like 25, it works. Hi does not work for the graduated, nor does a space, but entering true makes it print out our statement. This covers our third goal, checking for errors. This marks the completion of our first project. Thanks for watching. If you have questions, feel free to comment them below. Next episode, we will continue with our lessons with methods in Java. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss a video. Bye!